G'day and welcome to TruckThat February 2019. I'm Captain Pothole, or at least that's what one of our listeners says. Now, we come to you with the aim of providing information, awareness. We certainly want your input. So if you've got a complaint, you don't tell us, we don't know what you want us to act on. But at the moment, rest areas are critical. There is a momentum building. Austroads has just released guidelines for heavy vehicle rest areas. I had a lot of input into it. With that coming out, we've got the ATA and Nat Road both getting behind rest areas. We haven't had enough, we don't now, and if we don't use that momentum to our advantage, we will end up with still nothing for the rest of our lives. So I want to really push for rest areas. With the guidelines, we have the opportunity to get what we need for the next 20 years, but if we don't contribute, if we don't put that information forward, then we're not going to get the result. We've now got those other bodies that are sitting in behind us. The ATA is going to talk about rest areas at their convention in Perth. They're putting weight into it in the media, so we have an opportunity now that those guidelines are there to get government to spend the money. In that, we need to know from you, what are your problems? Where do you have an issue? Where do you need something done? The next step up is that TCA, Transport Certification Australia, have started to release rest area data that will be available to you through devices that you can look at in the cab. Now, I've contributed to them with green reflector markings, and I've just got the posters to start putting up on the Newell for the Newell being completed with green reflectors, and you'll hopefully see those in truck stops as I can get them out. This month we're going to cover off the last of the Churchill Fellowship trip. So we're talking about the National Truck Driving Championships held in America. I spoke with some of the drivers, what they go through. It's an enormous competition over there. So we'll cover that and we'll be back to you shortly.
Previously on TruckThat.
Absolutely ridiculous. Some of the places you try and park, you can't because they've closed them down.
Yeah. But the customers got to recognise it. They want quality trucks being driven by quality drivers. They've got to pay for it.
Yeah.
And when you're running legal and you're in an accident,
You're covered.
Yeah, in theory.
Yeah.
It's great, you know, it's a great culture. It's just we need more younger people in the culture to keep it going. And, you know, we also need people to understand that they need to look out for others.
Nice looking grill. Drop down at the front. The airbags on the front. Then drop the back. This one has a lift up bumper bar on the front. Saw it just earlier on. All black. Have a look inside the purple one. Actually has a painted floor. Said I wasn't allowed to walk inside, but I can have a look. Just have a quick look in here. He's left the door open, so it was alright to look. Just your average little exhaust stack. No, he's locked it up. And you can see even the lights up on the roof. And he's got a lovely purple dash. Now it is early on a Friday afternoon. Most of the trucks will roll in tonight. Still working on that old girl. Now this, even on the big skirts, why not use the space? One of the few I've seen actually utilise them properly. Note how close it is to the ground. Sorry about the sun. Just a lovely bit of detail Well, if you look down, they've even got their name in the grill. Old VIT. Now this is the old VIT Kenworth. You can tell by the profile on the corners up there. I think there are still a couple operating in Australia, but not many. I must admit I was looking at these lights earlier on and thinking, would they last one trip in Australia with our stains? Looks pretty though. And then even under this one, now those ones might be right. Of the grill section, and he's got just your average little exhaust pipes.
I think that one of the biggest issues with the regulations that the truckers have now and are facing,
yes,
that the industry is really taking strides to improve safety.
Yes.
But I think one of the biggest issues out there is not so much the trucker and their ability to handle the regulations and handle their truck, but a lot of the issues that I see are with the other drivers on the road.
Yes.
The few times that I go with him, I see every other car is either texting or on the phone,
yep,
not on a hands-free device. And I think that is enough of a distraction that you see people cutting in front of trucks sooner than they should, making bad decisions on the road, and I think it's really affecting the safety out there.
So then how do you see the industry as perceived? Like my view in Australia is that people don't recognise that we contribute to their way of life. They don't recognise the lifestyle we lead, and as you say, your husband only works 3 days a week now, but previously he was on the road full time.
Yep.
And you've obviously seen how the public recognise the industry. Has that changed, do you think?
I think that there's less respect of the truck driver now than there was 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Yes.
I think people are quick to judge that truckers are perceived as, you know, renegades and people
Cowboys.
who can't get a job anywhere else.
Yes.
And I think that people lose sight of the fact that, you know, that's where your milk comes from.
Yes.
And that's where, you know, the stuff that you buy at Walmart, that's how it gets there.
So it has dropped off, but do you still think they're recognised? Do you still think they're respected for the job?
I really don't think that they are. I think that, you know, the industry could do a better job promoting the trucker as the man who brings the milk.
Yes, I agree. So to you've had your licence for how long?
Probably 3 years.
Right, and you've done trips with your dad, but not a lot?
Yep.
So when you went for your licence, did they teach you anything about trucks? What happened?
They mostly just said to avoid them as much as possible and get around them.
Right.
Because the trucker is scary and you don't want to go near him and you could die. I mean, you could easily die if you're texting.
Yes.
And if you're a distracted driver. Right now, I don't, like my mom said, I don't think there's a lot of respect, in especially the younger generations, for truckers at all. And they think that they don't make a lot of money and they're losers. And it's not true. I mean,
but you said when you went for your licence, the bloke actually hated trucks.
Yeah.
And he was telling you how bad a bunch of blokes they are.
Yeah.
And of course you're sitting there cringing thinking, well, my dad does this and I know that's not true. Yeah. And yet what are we doing to teach our young people sharing the road with trucks?
Nothing.
I'm afraid you're right.
I mean, taking videos like you are now, that's helping.
Yeah, I really hope so. So thank you very much for your time. Enjoy your camping, and I'll get a quick look around the truck. As I say, I looked at the back of it there before. It's absolutely magnificent, and it's your Jeep in the back, you were telling me, so you're doing well. And thank you very much for your time.
Yep, you're welcome. Right behind you, that's a loft where I sleep.
All right.
It sleeps two comfortably.
Ah, right.
Up these stairs and around the corner is the master bedroom and bathroom. And it's all run off solar energy.
Ah, okay. So how much time do you spend in here? You travel on the road too?
Not so much. We use this camper just for camping.
Yes.
Mostly, even though it's not really camping, it's more luxurious camping.
Yes, you're doing it really tough.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
But we try to go out 2 or 3 times a year.
Because I remember the water over there.
Well, the Green Bay truck will be up there if we did. You see the Green Bay truck? Oh, there's Odd Smith.
You've just heard his APU start up, and he tells me he had a new bumper ordered, and he's actually ordered a bull bar. And I've asked him about these little things on the back here, which he tells me work even better than air tabs, designed by an aeronautics company. He said this will be his last truck, so he's going to have all the things that he really wants on it. And I imagine, or I'd like to see it with a trailer on. You right? Got to have those. So I'm going to film this bit as I come in, and then we'll have a bit of a look around inside the back. Okay. Shut the door.
Cujo. Bench bed. Bench bed. Bench bed.
That's the guard dog.
This is his happy guard dog.
My overview is that I'm looking at trucks and road safety. So I'd ask you, what is your biggest road safety concern on the highway at the moment?
And that's the electronic logging devices and the lack of rest areas.
And there are some where it suits and some where it don't. There are some states that have magnificent rest areas. There are some that close them.
Yes.
How do you deal with that in a level where you deal with 48 states? Is there a way to solve it?
Well, there's a way to at least monitor it. And what I do is I'm on a website called TruckThat a lot.
Right.
And it'll tell me whether or not there's spaces available and how many spaces there are available when they're, when it's empty, of course.
Yes.
And they've gone to some sensory pads inside the rest areas now that can tell me, approaching them, if there's 50 spots available or 5 spots available.
But I've seen a lot of those signs not working too. Now we're about to do a trial in Australia.
Yes.
They started it 12-18 months ago. The signs have been there sitting, not one of them works yet.
Right.
I did ring the other day to ask what's happening,
right.
And they said it's about the technology, getting it working. I did see a couple that had the signs up, but I see a lot not working.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yes.
And a lot of them will be off down here also, so I sense there's problems there too where it's not working properly. So yeah. But with the electronic log, the other problem we have there is it's changed my driving habits. It's made me more aggressive. It's made me drive faster, which I don't like doing.
Yes.
And it makes me drive when I'm tired. And
yes.
I can't. I'm in my 60s, and I like to take a nap in the afternoon for maybe 2 hours.
Yep.
Sometimes it's 3 or 4.
Yes.
And then I find out that I can't keep driving the way I want to. I like driving till midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, then getting up and getting going by noon.
Yep.
11 o'clock the next day, and I can't do that anymore. It's taken that.
Yes.
And so my clock, my internal clock, isn't allowing me to rest when I want to rest. It's forcing me to drive when I don't want to drive, and to sleep when I don't want to sleep.
And my view in Australia is the same. We have these people at a level who design things with the best of intent, but they don't have to live by them.
Right.
The people that police the rules may do so with the best of intent to keep you safe. They don't have to live by them.
That's right.
But how do we, as the drivers that are stuck at the bottom, and they seem to think that we're robots, that you can turn us on and off,
exactly, that
a rest area is just going to appear because you're tired.
That's right.
But they don't recognise that. So your Trucker Pass will only help you with available sites,
right,
but it won't get the law changed. How do we do that?
You got me on that one. Groups like OIDA over here in the U.S. are trying to get this, changed. It's an uphill battle. There's only a few states that agree with the truckers. Texas is one of them.
Yes.
That says we know that this is a foolish law. That we've made these restrictions, without any support.
Yes.
We've created problems more so than they've solved.
Yeah.
I'm seeing more accidents.
Right.
I really am, and I mean fatigue accidents where
yes,
the driver fell asleep. And I just, it's just sad. And again, I'm in my final stages of trucking.
Yes.
I'm not in my infant stages. Young people starting out in the industry are finding out they hate this. It's like it doesn't make any sense to them at all because they're young and they have energy and they can drive a lot harder and faster and longer. without rest, which is what I did when I was younger.
Yes.
But they've taken that away from us. Well, and again, the rates have gone up just in the past year. I've noticed that with the ELD. And that's strictly because of the supposed shortage, because drivers can't drive the way we used to.
Yes.
So I think that it's more of the capacity to work is the same, but we can't qualify people to do it and work within those restrictions. And if you drive, like you said, if you're on duty for driving 11 hours, you're on duty for 14 hours, take that 10 hours off, and now you got to get up and you've got to get driving immediately, yes. Driving hard, driving fast, driving aggressively, and it's just a combination that's going to create more problems.
And the minute you start, you're on the clock, and then something happens that night. Drivers have said to me, if you're not pulled up virtually by dark,
right.
Good luck getting a parking bay in certain places.
It's impossible.
Do you believe that there is sufficient training of car drivers to share the road with trucks?
No. Not at all. Not at all. And I think actually we got away from that. Years ago, we came out with, and this was back in the 90s, and they talked about the blind spot. That was a big thing because trucker...
The no-go zone,
no-go zone. And that was, they almost beat us to death with it, but I think cars got it.
Right.
And again, now cars are cutting us off again. There's a younger group coming out.
Yes.
An older group. We have this match of 16-year-olds and 80-year-olds on the highway. And it's just a recipe for disaster. They don't know what we need to stop. They don't know what we need to slow down. And again, like in the rest areas, they should be patrolled, policed, and told, you can't park here. You need to be over there.
Yes.
And I've gone the other way. I've parked where the cars.
Yes.
I'll pull into the car side.
Yes.
Because it's like, this is ridiculous. You got
all that space.
Or a 20-foot camper taking up a truck spot.
Yep.
And I'm 79 feet long with my trailer, and I need a spot that I can get in and out of, and they're messing it up for me too. So
what's the biggest change you've seen in the industry? Now, I've asked a lot of people that question I asked you. Mm-hmm. Generally it's car drivers, so we've covered their education.
Right.
There are a few now saying that it's truck drivers are a problem.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I actually talked to a young man yesterday who's been in the industry for 4 years. And he was so frustrated. He'd been lied to by so many carriers. He's on his 4th carrier in 4 years. And I think he's a good driver. I mean, I saw his equipment. It wasn't torn up. He hadn't hit anything.
Yes.
But lack of training. But then lack of, from his company standpoint, they weren't informing him of...
what it was really like.
Exactly.
Yes. They've told him it's going to be marvellous, and you're going to see the country and get paid a fortune.
Right.
And he gets out and he's got nowhere to park and he's got no facilities and he doesn't get the money.
Exactly.
Yes.
He was unaware of all that. He had no idea that's what he's getting himself into.
Yep.
During the daytime, you drive around, you see truck stops are half empty.
Yes.
And you think, oh, this would be a piece of cake. Like you said, by the time the sun sets, good luck.
Yes.
And parking on a shoulder, parking on a ramp is very dangerous.
And there's one or two alternatives. You have a tired driver on the road, or you have a driver who's managing his fatigue.
Right.
Surely you and I see that the tired driver is doing the right thing by stopping.
Absolutely.
But when they prevent you from stopping, we're not robots. Not yet.
No, I can't turn it off.
No.
When I stop, I'm up for an hour or two.
Yep.
I'll have a salad and I'll watch a little TV and just kind of, hang out and decompress. And then I go to bed. 6-7 hours later, I wake up, I'm ready to go. And I still got to sit. I can't go because I still got to sit and wait for the clock.
Yes.
To let me, so it's telling me, oh no, you can't start yet. I've actually driven like 1 hour and had to pull over and lay down again.
Yes.
Because of fatigue.
And you're not alone.
And I think it's mental, is more so than physical.
Yes.
Yeah, the physical, I understand.
Yes.
But this mental thing that they're constantly playing with us, and it's just, did I hear that you're at 160 tons on your biggest?
A quad, yes, a quad road train with 4 trailers could well be at that. There are some off-road vehicles that would exceed that.
How fast do they go at 160 kilometers?
Look, on a mine site, some of them may well be limited to 70 or 80.
Okay.
A triple road train at about 120 or a little bit more is restricted to 90, depending on where you are. But as a general rule, they're restricted to 90 kilometres an hour.
Okay. That's just curious.
Yeah, it is serious weight, and 3 or 4 trailers in that combination.
Yeah.
You do have turnpike doubles here, two 53-foot trailers, but they're pretty exceptional. They're the and you do have the triples, the triple pups, yes, which I've had blokes say, oh, well, we have triple trailers, and I said, yes, but you have triple baby trailers, we have triple full trailers. So it is a big difference.
And I do pull doubles with this.
Oh, right, okay.
I do that at Christmas time for UPS.
Yes.
And I'm trying to remember, about 93 feet long, 91 feet long.
Right.
Anyway, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
just go from terminal to terminal.
Yes.
Drop and hook.
And that's what we were told when B doubles first came about. It'll only be to depots, and now we're backing B doubles into docks and splitting them to do deliveries. And
crazy,
look, it's the way of the world. But look, I really thank you very much for your time.
I appreciate being here.
I hope that you continue to enjoy safe trucking.
I will.
And mate, I much appreciate your contact. And if you ever see any closed rest areas, I need some photos so I can do some more research.
All right, will do. Thank you.
Safe travelling, mate.
Thanks, Rod.
Welcome back. Now we want to talk about the issue of the current 40 km/h law in place when police are on the side of the road. Two things to it. We understand the law is there to protect the police. We agree that's a requirement. The issue we have is what happens on the side of the road when they're there. We come around the corner at 100 km/h and everybody in front slows down and leaves you nowhere to go. We have had reports of police who have turned off their rear-facing red and blues when they're in what they believe to be a safe place. That allows us to merge. We have to do the right thing still to protect them. There is currently a discussion going on with the Police Association and NRMA asking for a review of that law, and we fully support that. We'd like your views. Have you seen police who have turned off the rear red and blues? We'd like to hear from police if they've done that, if they believe that still provides a safe outcome. And we want to know what your thoughts are on the current law, whether there's any suggestions, whether you'll participate in a review, and what you think the best outcome could be. Back soon. But you were telling me a story why you bought this. Would you like to tell everybody else why?
All my friends have Peterbilts and Kenworths.
Yep.
I've always been the odd duck. I always have something nobody does. But the main reason I bought this was because I have no emissions, no DPF, most importantly, no electronic logbook. You could sit in a warehouse for 4 or 5 hours.
Yep.
And be sound asleep for the whole 5 hours, but it still counts against your clock.
Yes, once you've started it, it's running.
So say if it took 6 hours to get there and you wasted 5 hours sleeping there, now you only have 3 hours left.
Yep.
So 3 hours from now when you go to stop, guess what you get to do?
Sit there and wait.
Sit there and twiddle your thumbs because you've already been rested.
Yep.
You've done nothing all day.
Yep.
Made no revenue for the day and still have to pay for your equipment.
Yes. But of course, that's where your laws are different. So our laws are, we have 3 levels of driving hours, and our blokes know what they are. But in America, you have a 11-hour maximum driving period, but you can work another 3 hours. So you've got a total of 14 hours work, but then you must have a continuous 10-hour break. That's correct?
Correct, unless you do the 8 and 2 split.
Right.
And sometimes that works, but that law is so confusing.
Right.
Because most people don't understand where the 8 starts and where the 14 restarts and where you got to take the 2, and it's the regulations are so ridiculous. 30 years I've been doing this.
Yep.
3.5 million miles.
Yep.
Never had a wreck.
Yep. Well done.
With or without a logbook does not change how I drive.
Yes.
And I've always said we should have a tiered system.
Yep.
You should have the new drivers,
yes,
intermediate drivers, experienced drivers. Say 0 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years. If you've exhibited for 10 years that you're proficient and safe doing your job,
yep,
just let me do my job.
Yes.
Don't worry about when I'm going to take a nap or when I'm going to drive. Don't force me to drive when I'm tired.
Yes.
I'm an independent, 100%.
Yep.
A lot of people don't like this, but I would rather be non-compliant and safe than be compliant and safe and unsafe.
I agree with you. I've spoken to a fellow in Australia who said to me, for 30 years, I've driven when I was fit, I've slept when I was tired, and I've made things match. Now, he doesn't drive 23 hours a day. None of us want to do that, and none of us want to justify or allow anybody to do that. But he said, and we have a system in Australia called safety cam. So it's a gantry, you drive under it, it takes a photo of your truck and your rego and tells them where you are at a set time, and that then puts you into a window where you've got to do certain things.
Many states here have the same thing.
Yes, I thought they had it in the States and they removed it.
Some states do, some states don't.
Oh, okay, right. And of course what he said was, I've never had an accident for 30 years, but I've never struggled all my life so hard to be both compliant and safe. And the people that make the rules, that sit on the 37th floor of some office building with toilets on every floor and canteens and hot and cold running secretaries, and then the people that police the laws all want to tell us how to do it when they don't have to do it either.
The ironic thing is, everything revolves around this 14-hour clock.
Yep.
Until there's a hurricane or until there's a wildfire.
Yes.
And then they say, well, we need all the trucks we can get. Don't worry about the hours of service. You're exempt right now because we need all your product.
Yes.
What a bunch of crap. Don't make the rules to benefit you when they benefit you.
Yes.
Listen to the guys that are out here actually doing this.
Yes, I have a Little Pete. It was made by Bob.
Yep.
At littlebigrig.com.
Yep.
And Bob, his daughter, and the two girls actually made this by hand.
Right.
They actually took my truck body off and put this body on.
Right. So what was it originally?
It was originally a 96 Dodge. It was my old race truck.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I used to drag race with it.
Right.
And I would still like to do that with this, but the wife doesn't want me to do that.
I understand. So tell me a little bit about it. We'll have a quick walk around.
Okay, what we have here is a complete interior design by me.
Yep.
Full leather interior.
Right.
Full carpeting, embroidery everywhere from the mats to the back of the seats to the ceilings. And interactive sign in the front that nobody else has. And that's on top.
Ah, right, yep.
All the lights are very bright LED lights.
Yes.
As bright as I could get them.
And there's a few of them on it.
Just a couple.
So, same in the back?
Same in the back. I even put my wife's name in the lights over here.
Oh, geez, I missed that. That is pretty. I'll have to have a look at that.
My name is in lights on the other side.
Of course it is. Okay, and you've got Little Pete there on the back. Lovely carpeting. So, round on the back, come for a walk.
So we come back here. We have very nice chrome covers for the lenses.
Yep.
And we actually have my initial W.
Ah, yes, on the top there, yes, right.
And then one of the most proud things I have is a mailbox that the lights work on the mailbox.
Excellent.
Nobody has a mailbox like that. We go here. These are my actual truck lights off my old Peterbilt.
All right, yep.
Bob cut them down from 3 lights to 2 lights so they would fit here.
Yes.
And then we made this ourselves, handmade that. And then everything you see here lights up. And these are the loudest train horns available.
I don't think they're actually legal in Australia. I'd love a set, but I don't think they're legal. There are a few that have them.
They're only illegal if you get caught with them.
Ah, of course, yes. Everything's like that. We'll have to give them a toot at the end.
So Bob made these fenders.
Yep.
Wide enough to put my drag slicks underneath it.
Right.
So it's not too much of a drag. The rubber doesn't come off too bad on it.
Yes, yes.
And they all fit inside. That's
looks
the main
just
thing.
made for it. You've got the proper tanks and the lights right around.
Now, the flames on the interior of the doors match the hood flames.
Ah, excellent. Very good.
So
we'll have a quick look in here.
You can see some of the gauges, some of the switches in there.
Yes.
You can actually see the race transmission with a line lock, so you can lock off the front and not worry about it.
All right, yep.
You can do your burnout with it.
And then we have the power plant.
And this is a 12 valve Cummins with about 1100 horsepower.
Seriously? Wow.
It has twin turbos.
Yes.
Shaved the head intake off to make a more efficient and wider intake.
Right.
So that pulls more air. At 85 pounds of boost, you need as much air you can.
Certainly. So this was your drag truck engine?
This was the drag truck engine.
Oh, okie doke. Up inside the guard, that was your, that's 5.9, what's the 5.9?
5.9 is the size of the motor, Cummins.
Right, yep.
And that's what the designation of that is.
Of course, yes, the C there. Now that's excellent.
And if you want to see what it looks like at night.
Yes, I came past last night and the lights change in the headlights and everything?
Yes, the headlights have 121 different functions.
Oh, righto. So you take it to a lot of shows?
A lot of truck shows.
And you are a driver or an ex-driver?
I'm a retired driver, 51 years behind the wheel.
Yep.
And I've always enjoyed it, and I still miss it. You know, I'm approaching 71 years of age, and it's hard to miss something that you've done all your life.
What do you see as the biggest road safety problem on the highway now?
I think it's the electric onboard recorders.
Right.
I think that's a major problem for people, and I wish they would not have them or have a better system for it.
That allowed some flexibility, because they're treating us like robots that they can turn us on and off no matter whether there's no shade or no rest area, and I've certainly had that complaint from some.
Because the world is not made in black and white.
No.
The world that's why they put the erasers on pencils, because there's a lot of things you have to adjust.
Yes. Can we drop the bonnet down and we'll have a look with the bonnet down?
Okay.
Is that all right?
No problem. Now you can notice the flame in the hood.
Ah, yes. Probably hard to pick up with the sun. Yes, yes.
That was one of Bob's proudest moments, putting this in there.
Ah, okay. Ah, yes. With the right light you can pick it up. And just a couple of lights on the front there as well to make it stand out. Well, mate, it's a magnificent looking little truck. I hope it continues to serve you well.
I hope
and
so.
May I say thank you very much for your time at the show.
Thank you very much, and I've always longed to visit your country.
The best thing and the worst thing happened today. She moved on with another guy and got engaged. And now my heart's set free from its cage, but it stings like hell on the way out. The best thing and the worst thing happened today. I'm moving on.
We help truck drivers all across the United States if they have an illness or injury that takes them off of the road. We help with things such as paying for mortgage, utilities, car payment, insurance while they're out of work.
So your funds come from donations?
All donation based, mainly from drivers helping each other out.
Yes.
Some corporate sponsorships too for those companies that love their drivers, love their customers.
So how long have you been going?
For 10 years.
10 years. And are you finding it easier or harder? Are you getting more drivers that have problems? Which way is it going?
Definitely going up. Way more drivers, way more applicants. Every year we climb.
Yes.
And of course I think a lot of that is awareness that we're we're here to help, but as well just drivers in general having such health problems that they need some help.
So how many of them actually know? As you say, the awareness is growing. How many know of you? Where do you promote? You're obviously at a show, you've got a stand here. I'm aware of you from Australia, but only because I'm interested in what happens. Thank you. But again, it's getting to people to make them aware, and then it's you being able to do the best you can with the funding that you have.
So we have a lot of support from radio and magazines that get the word out for us, and they also do promotions and help raise funds for us.
Yes.
So it's sort of a really reciprocal relationship. They give us money, and we also then give it right back out to the people that learn about it through them.
Yes.
So it's pretty much a one-to-one, dollar that comes in, dollar that goes out.
Yes.
So we have really low overhead. It's all meant to go to help the drivers in need.
So I've got to say it's a very excellent program.
Thank you.
I congratulate you on what you do, and I'm sure the people that you help do so as well. And I wanted to thank you for your time talking to us in Australia.
Thanks so much. I loved having talked to you.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And the worst thing happened today. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I'm moving
So welcome back. We're going to wrap up this month's edition with three things. We are here at the Mundoons parking bay on the Hume Highway. At one stage they were going to close this site down because of maintenance. It was a big issue that came up in America about the cost of their rest areas and the maintenance of them. And yet if we don't have them, how do we manage our fatigue? I've got to say, these fir trees here, if we'd had the right sort of tree, we would have had a beautiful canopy of shade. Now, Stephen and I are both working truck drivers. Stephen's come in from an overnight shift. I'm on my way to Sydney at the moment. We can't guarantee you an issue every month. We'd love to be able to. We are certainly working on it. We're aiming to get a few sponsors into the show and help us be able to do it more consistently and give you more and better content. And of course, the other part of it is we started the TruckThat Australia Drivers Club. We followed up on some things, and the one thing that we talked about was getting education out to car drivers. Now, Stephen and I and a couple of others are currently involved in doing the Truckies Top 10 Tips for Sharing the Road. We aim to have that available by Easter, and that will be free for all people. We'd love to see it included in driver licensing of young drivers, but it will be available to your caravan club, to your men's club. And the aim is simply to get that message out about sharing the road with trucks. I've got to say, today coming up the Hume, there was a couple of messages on those variable message boards about trucks having blind spots. Good to see, and geez, I tried to get that up 10 years ago without success. But we want to hear from you about rest areas. We want your comments on the stories, we want your participation, and we want you to consider joining the TruckThat Australia Drivers Club so you and I can do a damn sight more to make us all safer on the road. Till then, safe travelling.